is hot. What's happening, Dave?
What up, dog?
It is Gus back with Dave, Swine Podcast. Number 2 of the new era, and I think last time was a huge success.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, man.
What do you judge that by?
Mainly just on my own ego and how I perceive things.
I see.
Because I'm the universe experiencing itself subjectively.
Wow, we're going right in quantum physics,
jumping
right off the jump. I like this.
No, dude, for real though. I did have a little feedback. One of my buddies called me. He just got done listening to it. He goes, "Yeah, that other dude, he's got the voice, doesn't he?" And he was breaking my balls because I've got like the reedy, sinusy Wisconsin voice, and you, of course,
you think you have a Wisconsin voice
compared to yours.
Do you think so?
Yeah,
I feel like you're regionless.
Well, I try to be regionless and timeless.
Both of which, cha-ching. Gus got both of that out there right away. No shying away from it.
That's one of the best things about me is how humble I am.
Right.
Too.
I like the humble brag. You actually have zero self-esteem, but you hide it well, just like me. It's a projection of self-esteem, even though I don't know any. Actually, I do know one person that hates himself more than we do, and we actually know this guy together.
Oh yeah.
We don't need to say his name, but we know who he is. If I told you who it was, you'd be like, "Yeah, of course."
We could talk about it offline.
Sure, why not?
But yeah, so the suggestion was, is there a way I can learn to have the radio pipes? And I just don't think you can. I mean, that's a
good
bred
question.
I met your mom. She doesn't have a radio voice.
No.
Does your dad? Did he have?
He did. Okay. He did have a somewhat, I guess you could call it a radio voice. He had a deep voice.
Yeah.
The thing that I've found to be the biggest misconception in most of what I do, radio, talk radio, formerly music radio, is that you need a good voice to be a good talk show host. That's not the case. It helps, but you don't need that. Now, some of the other jobs that I've done, it's been damn near essential. Public address announcer for professional sports teams.
Oh, yeah.
You better have that big voice, right? You better be able to come correct.
Well,
but for a radio thing, not so much. Now, as far as learning how to do it, to a degree, I think you can. You can learn presentation. Right? There's a way that you can speak your words. There's a certain way that you can form them. There's mouth structures that you can learn. There's ways that you position your tongue in your mouth. Well, that's out of your mouth. If you're positioning your tongue in your mouth, then that's your own problem. But there are things you can do. Sure, I don't think that you can get yourself to be really deep. I've heard stupid shit like smoke a bunch of cigarettes or drink whiskey. I do not subscribe to that.
I've done both of those.
And see, it hasn't helped at all.
So
there you go.
Myth busted.
Boom. Snopes, hit us up.
But see, I know that you can project. I mean, so when I was in the Navy, and if you're leading a giant formation and standing in front of, 500-600 people, they got to hear you.
That's a good point.
So I mean, there's speaking from the diaphragm, and but God, if I were to do that on this, that would get tiring after a while.
Oh, we would
trying to put on like the shadow. Hello, hey now, doing the. I couldn't keep that up for an hour either.
Ladies and gentlemen, Larry David. No, actually I need to work on that one because
Larry Sanders.
And I was thinking about Larry David and Seinfeld in my mind, but at the same time, Larry Sanders, and then God rest in peace, Gary Shandling.
Oh yeah.
But I really could go back to, let's say, the Larry Sanders Show, which is what I should have said, the Larry Sanders Show, and think of the character that was played there.
Hank, was it? Hank?
Yeah, it was Hank. I'm trying to remember his last name right now.
Jeffrey Tambor played him. It was Hank something.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter because it was Hank. And hey now. And he really did. He had that hey now voice. And there are some interesting movies about voiceovers, some comedic movies and some things that I've seen recently that have really kind of spoken to that. So, to answer the friend's original question, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe would be the answer. I've never had to work on that part. One of the things that I've always had to really work on, and this is partly due to my mother being so big on diction, is not speaking correctly all the time when I'm in presentational moments, which was something that I had to fight against, especially in commercial voiceovers, right? Like my natural instinct is to speak every word perfectly with clear, perfect diction, and you say it like it's supposed to be said. That's not the deal. Your voice acting as opposed to reading like you would in those cases. And so for what that's worth, I mean, I took myself into some places that I was really uncomfortable. Like I did acting classes. Like I went to actual stage acting classes and got up on stage to act, not because I had any interest in being a stage actor at all, because I don't, but I wanted to figure out some different things to use with my voice. And I wanted to get out of my own mind of reading and become more of an actor.
Okay.
Right? An actor, if you will. And that for me, that was one of the things that really helped kind of reset my mind. Trip to trigger.
Sure.
So maybe, right, is the answer. Boy, that's a long answer, but it is one.
Maybe. That's what we came down on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe. I doubt you're going to sound like me. Let me just put it that way.
Well,
you can get a better voice, but you ain't getting this voice.
I'm happy with my voice.
Yeah, your voice is awesome. Now, your face, we could work on that. My face, getting tan, Gus.
Yeah.
Getting tan.
Looks like it. You're getting ready to head down to
Florida,
huh?
Florida, baby. Clearwater Beach.
Nice.
Yeah. It better be.
Sun, manatees, and COVID.
Whatever.
Yeah. Whatever.
I'm triple vaxxed, and here's the thing. And I don't know that we want to really get into too much. I don't feel like weighing in too heavy on the COVID situation. But here's the thing. I personally, and I've gotten my vaccinations and my booster. Think what you want. It doesn't matter. I'm about science. Okay. So for me, I tend to believe most of the agreed upon science. And if you think I'm crazy for that, fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It took a long time before people came around to things like Darwin. I get it. Even, Isaac Newton was considered a heretic in his time. So it's fine. My point being, I take as many of the, normal precautions as you can. I don't normally, though, and I haven't, knock on wood, gotten sick with colds or flus, or I couldn't really catch the chicken pox when I was a kid. My mom tried to quarantine me. She was a nurse's assistant with other kids that got the chicken pox. And if I had them, it was such a mild case that nobody ever noticed. So my point is, I don't really have an easy time getting sick. I took all the precautions I can. I take my vitamins. I drink my water. I eat right. I do what I can. What else can I do?
The old school Hulk Hogan, eat your vegetables, say your prayers, drink your vitamins.
What else can I do? Yeah. I mean, let me tell you what, and everybody that's married knows this. If you told me that the options are stay in my house, rest of my life, wife, or be out there with a potential lethal fucking disease, I mean, we're hitting the streets. That's a transition button. I'm going to put the volume up differently next time.
Nice.
So,
I like that.
What's on your mind today, big guy?
I don't know. So driving over here, I was thinking about some music.
Yeah.
We touched on it. We were talking a little bit last week on music. And I don't know about you. I always hear people talk about, I listen to this, but not that. I listen to everything but this. And I don't know. Why would you pigeonhole yourself into something like that? Or why would you take such a stand? Because, I mean, obviously you can't like everything, but you can't hate everything either, can you?
Have you been paying attention to like the country that you live in? I mean, again, not trying to wade too deep into these waters, but where are you?
I suppose you're right. It's my team versus your team. So what gets me is when people get so wrapped up in the music they like that they identify with it, and it's almost like a personality trait for them. It's like, I can't, I don't like Boba Flex. And people get pissed off when I say I don't like Boba Flex. Why can't because they like Boba Flex?
Can I stop you? I'm confused. I thought Boba Flex was something that Jerry Rice and Joe Montana supporter, or Brett Favre and Jerry Rice. Isn't that what they use to go kick those kids' asses in the flag football games they play in? Oh, that's Flex. That's Copper.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind. Boba Flex.
Boba Flex is the guy on Disney Plus.
Understood.
The bounty hunter, right? Or something like that.
Understood. Gotcha.
No.
Thanks for clearing that up.
They're actually a band, a horrible band.
Okay,
that's awful.
See, another thing I didn't know. We're getting to stuff. Okay, so they don't like Boba Flex.
Lots of people like Boba Flex.
Okay,
and I don't.
All right.
But I remember I was in company one time, and I said I don't like Boba Flex.
Okay.
Well, how could you? People get offended, or I don't. Yeah. But if I were to say I don't like Bob Dylan, now that would make me wrong. I would
because you do.
Yeah, because I do like Bob Dylan. But I mean, would you
That
take that as
no.
as an affront to your taste? I mean, I don't get it. I just don't understand.
Well, okay, so you do understand because you answered your question right away. You said it has to do with the ego. Now, one of the toughest things to do, and this is just a human issue, is separate yourself from your ego. That's one of our fundamental flaws, mine and everybody else's. How do you separate yourself from your ego? What do you identify yourself as? And this goes into all things, religion and now politics and all sorts of stuff. It's you can't separate people from their egos like you can from the food at the table. You can't just split it apart and say, okay, well, you're going to have that over here and you sit here. because it's attached. It's like wedded together. So when you actually tell somebody that, like in the company that you were in, whatever that is, that said, oh my God, I can't believe you don't like Bella Flags. What?
Yeah.
Well, that then attacked some sort of part of that ego that, again, is part of the personality. And if we know anything, we value our personalities more than anything, more than ever now than we ever have before. I mean, possibly people in the past would have been equally as offended, but they wouldn't have said anything.
Sure.
Like they just would have ate it and gone on their way.
I wonder if that's because, I mean, obvious it is. It's because we sit in front of our screens and we live in our own heads and we're in our own bubbles and we click on the things we like. The algorithm takes over. And now we're just surrounded by whatever we fed into that machine. And if you don't like it, you're wrong now because that's all I see all day.
Yeah. And that's,
I don't think I'm blazing any new ground here by saying that.
No, but you're answering
as
your own.
As I'm really examining it.
You're answering your own question.
Yeah.
Why is that? It has to do with the ego. So I don't like every kind of music, but I don't tell myself that I won't like a certain kind of music. And I don't tell myself that I won't like a certain anything,
right.
Really.
Well, and far be it for me. I mean, like, Boba Flex, I don't like them, but good, God love them. They're doing what they want. They're making money, making music.
What kind of music do they play?
Bury me with my guns on. It's like real kind of aggro,
okay.
angry white man.
All right. Well, there's a market for that.
Yeah, it would have been. They would have been huge in the '90s. Like they would have been like Korn, but they came out like 2 decades.
Yeah.
Late,
See, again, I just
they play around here all the time. They're a favorite of the local rock station.
Oh, I've heard of that band. No.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I was just gonna say, Gus Fimble, that you feel like these things are not dating well. Right? You're like, that would have been great in the 90s. Have you kind of caught the drift of what's going on now? You're wondering, like, what happened? Are people polarized? Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, man.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
I don't know. Hey, speaking of music, I've got something that I actually want to hit up here because, music being one of my most favorite things. Great film, Ray, 2004, directed by Taylor Hackford and starring Jamie Foxx as playing Ray Charles. So, this is something that I didn't know because I'm a huge fan of this movie. I'm a huge fan of Ray Charles, a huge fan of Jamie Foxx, the whole thing. Yeah. I'm just a huge fan of it. And when this movie came out, I thought, and I still do think, that it set the standard for these biopics, right? Okay. I don't think there's ever been one quite as good. Walk the Line, I've had vigorous debates with a lot of people about, and Joaquin Phoenix was terrific. Mm-hmm. Yes, he did a great job. To me, he did not sound at all like Johnny Cash. Not at all.
Sure.
He sounded like Joaquin Phoenix, and he sounded awesome. But he didn't sound like Johnny Cash. Ray Charles sounded like Jamie Foxx, and Jamie Foxx sounded like Ray Charles. And in this movie, what I didn't know about this was that Jamie Foxx, like I knew he was a musician. I didn't realize that he went to college on a classical piano scholarship.
Yeah, he's a legit.
Well, fuck me. I didn't realize that. Let me play a piece of audio from a clip that I found on YouTube. And this is actually the official Ray Charles documentary, part of the Ray Charles and this Ray movie documentary. Let me play a piece of this audio because the director, Taylor Hackford's talking about working with Jamie Foxx. Listen to how Jamie emulates Ray Foxx real quick, or Ray Charles. Oh, wait, I muted this.
15 years ago. I'm lucky that I didn't make it for 15 years because I wouldn't have had Jamie Foxx in the lead role. And Jamie gave me this incredible gift. I can go from his hands to his mouth so that you just feel this is Ray Charles.
It brings a tear. Yeah, dude. I mean, this is Jamie Foxx playing Ray Charles. And here's Ray Charles doing it with him.
Is this the scene? I think I've seen this one where the two of them are together.
They had a jam session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when Ray signed off on it.
Well, he made him play Messing Around.
Yeah. That's Jamie Foxx singing.
This is Jamie now.
It's seamless.
But sometimes I'm doing 2, occasionally 3 songs in a day. That means he's got to come in.
So I was just thinking about, music obviously all the time, which I do. I just think about music all the time.
What a great example. Because, I mean, you say it sets a standard. I think, yes. Because, he did such, method for that. They like he had his eyes sealed with
that was part of this little documentary that I was watching because look, they wanted to have Jamie take off his glasses and be like, Ray, show some of that vulnerability. And you couldn't do that unless you were going to look like Ray.
Exactly.
But the director, Taylor Hackford, was also talking about in this piece that I watched, the beauty of being able to work with Jamie Foxx because you transition from his hands to his face. Now, normally, which 99.9% of these movies where you have some savant that you're actually having to act as, you would have a actual pianist play those parts and then the actor doing his thing. Or her thing. But in this case, they got the benefit of using Jamie Foxx. And Taylor Hackford also mentioned, I think we heard that right at the beginning, he was so grateful that he didn't make the movie 15 years prior when he had actually gotten the rights to it because he wouldn't have had Jamie Foxx to do it with him. That was a lot of fun, man.
I think, even prior to Ray, though, I think that what maybe was like the prototype for this particular type of biopic was The Doors with Val Kilmer playing Jim Morrison.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't know how accurate that was really, truly to the whole thing. I mean, that was John Densmore's book, which I read when I was a kid, which is a great book. You know, I mean, it was accurate. I shouldn't say that. It was written from a perspective of an actual band member.
Yeah.
I don't know that because my father actually got to see and urinate next to and get high with Jim Morrison.
Sure.
I don't know how true to that Val Kilmer was, as opposed to this with Ray. I mean, I saw these two guys together. I'm like, holy smokes.
Well, I don't know.
This is uncanny.
I don't know how big a brag it is to urinate next to Val or to Jim Morrison because I think most people towards the end probably urinated next to him.
Well, figure he only lived
had him urinate next to them.
I don't know, man. He only lived to be 27.
There's that scene in the movie. There's that scene in the movie where he's just pissing in the bar.
You had to be at least there.
Well, the joke is anybody he was standing next to, he was urinating next to.
There you go.
That's what I was going
for. Okay, fine, but I'm still saying that's fairly elite company. Sure. I can imagine that Genghis Khan has more children in the world than Jim Morrison is pissed on.
Well, he...
You're going to pick up on that. That's a good out. That's what we call. This is a working like sort of a workshop. This is like an in progress workshop. This is what Gus calls the Cultured Swine Podcast with Gus Fimple. That's that guy, and Dave Carney. That's me.
Excellent.
It's not bad.
Well, okay, so music. What about movies themselves? That's one of the topic that always comes up when you and I are kicking it down at the Recov.
Okay, so what about
with our boy Maddie?
Yeah. Shout out
to.
So what do you want to talk about? What about him?
Well, so they just announced the Academy Award nominations this morning. And a lot of great films on there. But I'm curious about the subjective nature of those. Now, they do have metrics that they go on. Box office, that's not in consideration for an Oscar technically.
Yeah.
I think the subjective part being is if enough people in this quorum they have that vote on the winners, if you get enough people that say, yes, this was a fine film, then we can fairly agree that, yes, it is the best movie of the year or whatever, based on this jury of peers.
The Motion Pictures Arts and Science Academy.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Insured by Price Waterhouse. And
right.
They put it in the thing. But there's so many films, and kind of going back to what I said earlier about people just doing what they want. It's right behind you.
No, that's okay. I was going to find it at some point. Okay. Keep on track. You go ahead. I'm listening. We got headphones.
These people are doing what they want, and even if they're not making great art, they're making movies, and they're making something that's fun and it's an experience. Maybe and it's we're getting back into theaters now, but in order to have a good film, what is that to you? What is a good film?
So, a good film, good acting, good writing, good scene layout, right? And probably good cinematography.
Is every one of those things a requirement for you to enjoy a film?
No, to say a good film. You said what makes a good film.
Well, I mean,
what makes a movie that you can watch? And Half Baked is a movie I can watch. Yeah. That's not a good film. But it's a movie I can watch.
Maybe I misspoke.
It's got elements like fuck you,
yeah.
you're cool, fuck you, and I'm out. That's classic.
I remember when a dime bag cost a dime.
Exactly. Yeah. These are things that we need to be letting our kids know about.
Exactly.
Okay.
But you wouldn't say that's a good movie?
No. But it's a movie that's got enjoyable parts, but it's not a good movie. A good movie is The Goodfellas. Citizen Kane. Let's see. Let There Be Blood, or I'm thinking of the book Oil, but which is actually what it came from.
There will be blood.
There will be blood. Now, I read that book. Boy, by the way, The Jungle and Oil, two of the hardest books to ever get through if you've got any social conscience. That's another great topic, actually. Maybe we'll hit on that sometime.
Yeah.
But either way, those would be, I guess, really good movies. I saw a movie recently that I thought was really well done, and that was called Nightmare Alley with
I'm about halfway through that
Bradley
movie
Cooper.
right now, so
that is
no spoilers.
No spoiler. It's film noir. It's very good, well acted, well directed. I like the set layouts. I like the lighting, the cinematography.
It's a Guillermo del Toro movie.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a very good film.
I just started that this morning. In fact, I'm going to get home and finish it.
Well, it's great, and you'll enjoy it. So that to me is a good movie. Now, there are movies like Idiocracy that aren't good, but have some pretty poignant pieces to them that you're like looking back and thinking, wow, this movie aged a lot better than I thought it would. But I don't know if I'd consider them good movies.
Maybe it's a perspective thing, because what I consider a good movie is something that I enjoy.
Okay.
So like there's a movie called Iron Sky. It's about moon Nazis.
Moon Nazis. So Nazis made it to the moon.
Yeah.
Because all the other planets were colored and the moon is white.
No, they escaped. Instead of going to Argentina.
Oh, gotcha.
They escaped and they went to the dark side of the moon.
No kidding.
Yeah.
But that goes against their whole ethos. That's the dark side. Why wouldn't they go to the white side, the light side?
Because they were hiding.
Oh, moon Nazis were worried about us finding them on the moon.
Until they could rise back up and make another. It was a crowdfunded movie. It started as like some dude's idea, and they did like some test footage.
Okay.
And then they raised money, and it's like totally shot with unknown people, and it's fantastic. It's absurd. It's not great acting.
See, these are definitions of good that are on the moving scales, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like not good acting, not my good time. That's to me like, no, thank you. You've already told me not to see this movie, because now I'm like, no, I don't need to see it. There's not good actors in it. The same reason why, and we've talked about this before, this is why people like Denzel get paid and other people don't, because he makes the cash register go ring because he's a good actor. Now, these people aren't, and they don't make any money, and these films get crowdfunded and nobody sees them, but they're not it's not without merit. How about this? Good and worthy are two different things.
Okay.
Being good and everything should be worthy because it's been done. It's been created. You give them kudos and props. But that's like going to your kids, I don't know, high school play. Like you're doing it to support them.
I'll give you that. That's a fair point. Yeah. Just because I still think you would like the movie.
Well, maybe.
It's funny as hell.
What do I need to be on?
Just whatever pharmacopoeia you got handy, or you could watch it sober. I definitely think, though, our friends from the CBD company could probably hook you up with something that would make it a vastly
more relaxing,
more enjoyable experience.
That'd probably help me relax all during the bad acting. I could be like, all right, this isn't that bad. I've got Cannabis Depot's Delta 8 level CBD relaxerols, and I'll just be fine. This is going to be really good. No, so here's my thing, and this is maybe just for me. I really, really do. And I'm not being an elitist, but I love to see the best do what they do at all times. I really do. I love to see the best athletes, the best musicians. I love to read the best authors. Not to say that I haven't found gems, but there is a reason why most of the time, Britney Spears exception, there's a reason most of the time why people are so popular and people gravitate towards them, because they're so fucking good at what they do, right? They're just so good at what they do. So I don't feel bad for liking that stuff, even though, sometimes it feels like you're cherry picking because it's like, well, I like this or that. Boba Flex, for example. I don't know who they are. I'm sure I've heard of them. I'm sure many people love them.
Yeah.
They're not Metallica.
No.
Okay. Yeah. There's a reason that Metallica is Metallica and they're Boba Flex.
Right.
Not because Boba Flex doesn't have merit. They're not good enough for whatever, but it ain't Metallica. There was a reality and sort of a reality check I had. I was 17 years old. I was with my dad at the Hollywood Bowl, and we were watching Jimmy Page, Robert Plant John Bonham Jr. played drums,
Right.
and I don't know who was filling in for John Paul Jones. Doesn't matter. There was a 4-piece Led Zeppelin band coming back, and they did their tour. And I watched Jimmy Page, and I was a young, aspiring guitar player at the time. I'm watching Jimmy Page do a set break for Robert Plant, and he busts out a double-necked acoustic guitar and plays for 15 minutes, and it broke every bone in my body and all of my heart and my mind. Just got blown at the same time. I knew at that time there was nothing I could never be a professional musician.
Right.
I would never be able to be even within that league. You just understand your limitations so much. Kind of like getting dunked on the first time by this guy named Ron Riley when I was playing basketball at El Dorado High School, and he played for Arizona State, and we're like freshmen, and it's summer camp, and this dude's 6'7", and he like jumps over us and dunks, and I'm like, yep, that's the difference.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fun.
I guess radio it is. Oh my gosh.
Boosh.
So you got any plans for the rest of the week?
I do. So coming up, so this is Tuesday, the 8th of February, 2022. If you're listening to this in space, that's what day this is. And we're talking Christian calendar. Do not get this confused with Chinese calendar, space futures.
Sure.
Different story altogether. I don't have that math worked out. So tomorrow, Wednesday, the 9th, I will be at this place called Task Karate. I'm going to be doing a radio remote for my company, and we're going to be talking about a really cool local event. Thursday, I'm going to be doing pretty much the same thing. I'm also going to the dentist, and I've got a process going here. I'm getting a couple of teeth in my front mouth face here fixed up so that I can take this amazing voice, which your friend has particularly pointed out, and I would say correctly articulated, and combine it with a really below average face, but one that will be upgraded significantly by at least a fixed couple of front teeth. So I'm excited about that. That's my big to do. And then on Saturday, we got this concert coming to town here in La Crosse, and I'm looking forward to seeing some friends. It's the Winter Roots Festival.
Oh, yeah, that's
I'm also
right.
going to take my mom. She wants to go to this RV sports show that they've got here. So a lot of big plans. If I go to Bed Bath & Beyond, I mean, it's going to be like an old school perfect weekend.
Sure. Throw in a trip to Costco and go get some samples.
Is there a Costco out here, or is that like in Rochester? Or something?
Rochester.
Oh, yeah, fuck that.
We go there.
No,
we do it maybe quarterly.
Yeah, well, you've got a lot of people in your house, or something.
Well, it's worth the drive.
Is it
Kirkland brand? Fuck yeah.
What do you need to buy enough of that you go to Costco for?
Salsa, toilet paper.
What?
The Kirkland salsa is the best salsa.
Okay.
Yeah, for real.
And the toilet paper. So it's that much of a discount over Walmart?
I think so. Plus, it's Kirkland brand.
Okay. How much
Because
gas does it take?
I vote with my wallet, man.
How much gas does it take to get there?
Not even a quarter tank.
That feels like an investment going the wrong way.
I don't know, dude. It's not about the expenditure. It's about where I spend it.
It's also about the
I'm not going to
poo-poos as you walk around, right? So you get to have the samples, little appetizers, little samples. This.
No,
That's always fun.
I ain't trying to get COVID. I'm doing my part, but I'm not trying to get it. But they treat their employees well. They pay them well.
They do.
People that work there are very happy.
They are.
And I support that. That's why I shop there.
Okay. I mean, I'm trying to think like how long it would take me to go through that much salsa. Like, what do I have to see? Here's my thing. The salsa I love. The chips, can't have them. A serving is 7 chips. Well, it's not that I can't have them.
We don't eat them with chips. We throw. I cook it in with I use it as a
like a
ingredient.
Base. Oh, okay. All right. Well,
yeah. When I make tacos or when I make anything, really, I just put salsa in eggs. Right. Throw it on eggs.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's a really good. So we were going to talk. I threw out an idea. We should talk about food, but you said you're kind of.
You know what though? I mean, listen. I know what I like, and I know why I eat what I eat.
Sure.
I mean, there is that.
Yeah.
I just don't eat red meat anymore. I'm pretty much now. I mean, after this last weekend, I went out to a very nice local establishment that's a pizza joint, and I mean, they do a great job. Really good taste in food. I'm sick last 3-4 days because I had pizza, and then I also had a couple of bites of pistachio ice cream because they make this like homemade pistachio ice cream. And my wife wanted to get some. I had multiple bites of that. I've been paying for it ever since.
Well, I wonder if it's more of a lactose thing than it is a.
It's a whole cow thing, though. No, it's a whole thing. So I mean, that's why I don't eat red meat because the actual red meat thing, it inflames me in such a way. So I've cut that out, but I still do know what I like and what pairs well with other stuff. I have the same exact routine, however, for food every day of the week up to a certain time.
Let me see if I can remember. Let's see, for breakfast.
Yeah.
Let's see. You used to. Let's see. Was it oatmeal?
It's a single piece of toast.
That's it.
Yeah.
What did you do? You had almonds.
I used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to. Then it became a little bit tricky with my teeth.
Oh, sure. I've got the same problem.
Yeah, and it's just and then almonds, they really dry your mouth out. And as you're on for a 3-hour shift, becomes a bit problematic, especially when you're doing all the talking.
Yeah.
Okay. Can't really get away with that.
But for lunch, it was what, spinach with chicken.
It
and
was
pasta.
Yeah, it was like it used to be. Now it's basically like gone down to, as I've gotten older, I've almost started to think like, all right, I've got to really pare down the entire consumption, because what I notice is that my stomach just gets really upset if I eat a little bit more than I should. Like basically what that old adage was is like the size of your fist, like that. When I eat more than that, which is always what you want to eat because your eyes are much bigger than your stomach, okay, totally got that analogy, then it really kind of, it messes with me. So breakfast is a single piece of toast. And then I take my vitamins with that, all through the day, drinking water, coffee. Then I've got a protein shake and a tuna packet that I eat after the shift is over.
Tuna packet.
Yep.
That's the one I forgot.
Extra virgin olive oil, sun-kissed tuna, wild caught. Then at lunch, it'll be a throw up, but I could go in the direction of a salad, possibly in the wintertime. A lot of soups.
Oh, sure.
A lot of soups. Yesterday I had a soup. Yeah. It was good.
What did we have the other day? I had the gyro the other day when we met up at
at the recovery room. Yeah, you had the gyro, and I did. Not that day. I was thinking about just the soup that I had at lunch. But yeah, what did I have the other day there? I just had chicken wings.
That was it. Yeah,
straight protein. God, they're good. That's a good place.
Yeah, I really enjoy it there.
It's great. What about food with wine? Because you're a big wine guy.
Yeah,
you import wine. You've got all this cool, fancy wine. Like, what do you like to do when you pair your wines? Do you have one right now that's like a go-to pairer that just pairs well with stuff that you tend to make a lot?
Yeah. So I have a really nice Merlot. It's a Greek Merlot, and I drink the hell out of it. It's great. And people. So do you remember a movie called Sideways? Came out early 2000s. Paul Giamatti.
I know that I've seen it. I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen that movie pop up on.
There's a scene in there. He's sort of a wine snob. Paul Giamatti plays a wine snob.
Okay.
And he and his buddy are going on a guy's weekend to Napa because it's like a bachelor party thing. And his friend is Thomas Hayden Church, and they're going to go do all these wine. He wants to do the snooty wine thing. Thomas Hayden Church just wants to go chase tail the whole time.
Sure.
It's awesome.
Right.
Well, he is there because he loves Pinot Noir. He wants, I'm only drinking Pinot Noir. They have it's very delicate, blah, 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 whatever. And there's a scene where the guy, he says, I'm going in there to talk to these women, but I'm not drinking the Merlot. And he's like, well, if they want to drink Merlot, you're going to drink the Merlot. And he screams, I'm not drinking the fucking Merlot. Because of that one line.
Yeah.
Like sunk the Merlot. People think,
really?
For years, people thought that Merlot was a shit wine. When in reality, it's just this one guy's opinion that it was that he, because he's.
It was a movie.
Exactly.
It was a movie,
and he's such a snob.
Right.
The point being that he's such a snob, he won't drink it. That not to mean that nobody should drink it. The point they were actually making was, it's fine to drink it because it's just this guy's just an asshole.
Right. You couldn't have Wow, that shows you that we've lost our ability for context and contextualization, because that's what that scene, as you were describing it to me, would have correctly articulated. Who would be that much of a hard ass about going to try to help his friend and being a wingman? I'd be like, dude, you're really kind of a buzzkill right now. I've got to rethink paying for this whole trip, right?
Exactly.
Because you took me to Napa, little suspect to start with. We could have had wine anywhere, but okay. I said yes. You're saying yes to the dress. I'm saying yes. What are we doing here, man? Help me out.
Anyway,
help me out. It reminds me of Goodfellas. He's like, help me out. You know what? I'm trying to bang this broad here. Help me out. What do I got to do? I've been trying to bang this broad for 2 months. You know what I mean? Just help me out.
Well, so to answer your question though, so I have this Merlot, and every time I have to go through this whole thing. If I say, luckily you're not really a wine drinker, so when I said I like a Merlot, you didn't do the. Kind of a.
Yeah, I'm not a wine drinker at all. The only things I know about wine really are things that I've picked up, incrementally through the years, and stuff that I've learned from people like you that bring.
Well, I really like it, and you say for pairings. I like, especially in the wintertime.
Yeah,
I like drinking reds. It's a pretty hearty red. It's pretty dry.
What's this one called?
It's just a Merlot. It's a Greek Merlot that I have.
Okay.
Available at Woodman's today.
Okay.
Pick up a bottle
with
today.
no name. Greek Merlot.
It says Merlot from Simonides Estate.
Okay. All right. Merlot from Simonides Estate.
Aisle 6, Woodman's.
Aisle 6, Woodman's.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, in Onalaska.
That's Wisconsin.
Yeah, but they, it pairs well with, you don't do red meat, but it, does like a nice, like a chili. I like it with chili or things with spicy things.
Hey, that would go fine with a white chicken chili.
Oh, yeah.
There's no reason that couldn't go fine with a white chicken chili.
I think it'd be fine. Yeah. I've been cooking with a lot of ground turkey lately, though. I'm trying to do the red meat thing as well.
I mean, listen, the science is, pretty much in, and no judgment. You're eating red meat. I'll have a steak once in a while, once a year, twice a year. The science is pretty much in. I mean, bro, in overconsumption, it's kind of bad for you.
Well, your heart, your skin,
it's
everything.
Got a high rate of correlation to certain kinds of ailments, and I won't name them specifically, but there's a high rate to certain kinds of ailments that, and that's overconsumption, like with anything. Yeah. I mean, you drink too much Pepsi or Coke or, whatever, and you're going to get a certain thing, and,
but
drink too much beer, you'll get a certain thing.
Like I said, though, we've been trying to do more poultry, just almost exclusively.
That's
now,
good. That's almost all I can have
chicken,
now. And fish. A lot of chicken, a lot of turkey, a lot of fish, little bit of pork.
I wish the people in my house would like more fish.
I do too.
Because I really enjoy. I like any kind. I like
I'm open. Yeah,
it's so good, and I just can't get people on board with it.
Last night we had a shrimp stir fry. There's just a great little stir fry, quick and easy, but with some shrimp that we had defrosted, and also had a couple of rolls of sushi.
Nice.
Right, just some nice fish. Yeah, and the shellfish I don't count fish because they're really technically sea bugs. So they are. Yeah. They're sea bugs. Shellfish are not fish. But whatever.
That's why I qualified it as seafood. I think we should eat more water,
because
water
crustaceans,
food,
and then you've got cephalopods,
clams, mussels, all that
absolutely.
Stuff. Yeah.
Just don't eat intelligent cephalopods like octopus. Because that's not cool, man. Like, I read this incredible book called The Soul of an Octopus. Yeah. Holy smokes. And that really opened up my eyes. And then they did that movie. I mean, it was like right in time.
Teacher.
Yeah. And I read this book before that movie came out. It was perfect timing. Those things are incredibly intelligent. And I do believe that what we are starting to think about animals and their cognition is really changing. And you know what this is a good time for? Boosh. It's almost like I've done this before. All right. So once I get every level in here figured out to the way that I want, we're just, be fired on all cylinders. Here's the thing. I think cognition and our ideas and our understanding of it is changing so rapidly with the evolution of our technologies into such matters that we're finding out sentience and the ideas of what that means and exactly what animals carry what kinds of ideas in their heads, depending on their brain size, is almost irrelevant now. It's changing rapidly. And I feel like, for the most part, human beings don't want to think about that, because if we did, we would have to be confronted with how it is that we treat animals on a large scale, not individually. We all love our dogs and cats for the most part, but on a large scale, we would have to really unpack what it is that we do with our shared neighbors who inhabit this very planet with us. Because oftentimes, and this is an old thing, and it goes back to, prehistoric times. We rule this place. This is ours. And for the most part, that's true to a degree. There are just some things I feel like now, as we research more and more and more, that are coming to light that suggest that even the cats, the dogs, the mice, the birds have a lot more, and I mean a lot more, higher level thinking than we think. Their awareness about what is and what isn't happening is much different than we previously thought.
I would probably agree. And when I say the science, it's just basically what I've seen on like documentaries and stuff. So again, I'm not a scientist, but like what you're talking about, as people realize how much everything is interconnected. I mean, even on like mycelium and how trees connect and talk to each other using mycelium networks.
Yes.
And then how
good call.
How we have receptors in our brains to receive all of these things that are growing in plants, and not just us, but the animals, the dogs, cats, everybody has CBD, cannabinoids, DMT, those types of things in our brains.
Psilocybins,
everything.
Just
waiting to be connected somehow.
Yep.
So, holy shit, when I do mushrooms and I start seeing things that aren't there, well, maybe I am seeing something that's there, or maybe I'm now connected to something differently, or maybe these other consciousness that we haven't seen before. And right now I'm not on anything, so this is just my normal line of thought. Maybe if I were tripping right now, I'd have a better way of articulating this.
I doubt it. I think this is about as close as you'll get.
But you know what I'm saying is that
I do.
And I'm basically just amplifying your point that when if you look at an animal, I don't care. I don't see like a dumb dog. Like I look at my dog, and he's awesome. Or look at your dog Leo. He's out there, and he's excited to see me when I come here. And it's not just a dog being a dog.
No, it's a known recognition. It's a known recognition. Yes.
And if you look at cows have buddies. You ever kill a cow? You never killed a cow, have you? I used to go out with my buddy. His family would buy a cow to slaughter every year, and they would bring it out and kill it right in front of all the other cows. And they would all like congregate and watch, and you could see it on their faces. They were concerned about what was happening. I mean, it's not like it's not like they just didn't care. They were sad. I mean, really.
Well, dude, that was one of the things in that book that I was mentioning earlier, The Jungle, Upton Sinclair, who wrote both Oil, which turned into There Will Be Blood. Yeah. I said Let There Be Blood. Yeah. There Will Be Blood. Great movie, by the way. I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis was awesome. And anyways, in the book, The Jungle, Upton Sinclair, graphically details the horrifying sounds of the meatpacking plants in and around Chicago in the early portions of the 20th century. There is absolutely a knowledge. And that's what I kind of go to with this, because, Michael Vick was involved, and I'm making a hard kind of transition, but you'll follow me. Michael Vick was convicted and sent to prison for 2 years for being part of a dog ring. And listen, that was some atrocious shit that went down there. It really was. No question about it. O.J. Simpson was let off, different, sort of circumstance, but was let off for decapitating 2 people. Right. Which he absolutely did kill them. Now, my point in making this is people love dogs more than they love people. For the most part, I believe that. People love dogs more than they love people. At the same time, you just mentioned cows and the sentience there. Now, in this country, cows are slaughtered, and that's for food. They're used for their milk. In other countries, they're considered gods, and you can't touch them. It's illegal to kill a cow, right? They're given a status of protection that people are not given. My point is this. People love animals in so many more ways than they love people. But we don't love the fact that they might have a certain kind of transference with us, which you talk about the connected nature of things is the most obvious of all of these things, because except for the animals that remain wild or that have domesticated themselves in the feline house cat, the only known animal that has domesticated itself, humans had no part in the domestication of cats. Okay. But they happen to be a domesticated animal with this, which is probably why they have tripped everybody out from Cleopatra, all over the world, because we have no idea how these things come to be or why. Okay. We know that they come from stuff, but my point is everything else we have turned into something. The cow is an oxen that we over, hundreds of thousands of years we have developed into this. Horses come from a long line of other things that become what we know as horses. My point is our relationship with animals is so sewn into this world that I feel that, like a lot of things, if we actually absorbed the full nature of that reality and how interconnected we are, we would feel bad. And what do we know now more than ever?
We don't want to feel bad.
We don't want to feel bad.
Well, so should I feel bad about eating an animal?
Well, it depends, because if you look at the folks that inhabited, let's say, the North American continent, because we can't say the South American continent, different set of rules were being used down there. The natives of the North American continent, vastly different to those of the South American continent, right? Okay. The Aztecs, the Incas, of that kind. They're building huge structures. North American natives, by and large, built nothing.
Well, had a certain... The Mississippians built giant mounds and earthen structures.
And I'm saying for the most part,
I got you.
By and large, not large structure builders. The point that I'm going to make is a different relationship with the earth.
Sure.
When they killed animals, which they have to, because humans have to do this. So, short answer, no, you don't feel bad. Long answer, let's look at that. What kind of homage did they and almost every other early human up until not that long ago, really and truly, a few hundred years ago, what kind of human didn't pay some sort of homage to that large beast that's now feeding 8 or 12 or more hungry people?
And likely clothing you.
Exactly. And creating some of the tools that you will use in the ornaments that you wear. So I think a reverential nature of animal to human and what the sacrifice was. And I just pointed out the North American natives just because they seemingly had, from my knowledge, because I'm from North America, one of the better relationships, even though obviously, we have to eat animals. That's how we live. That's
I guess
a thing.
What I'm getting at is because not long ago I actually had octopus and it was delicious. And I know.
I won't eat that. I'll eat squid. I won't eat octopus now. And I'm having... Okay, I don't have misgivings about eating the meat that I do. I eat a lot of chicken. I eat a lot of fish. I feel like chicken probably has some higher level of intelligence, more than I would absolutely love to admit, but I don't really care because those things are little dinosaurs. And I feel like I'm taking a bite out of T-Rex, okay? So I'm going to eat that chicken, all right? He's going to have me a little something there. I love chicken. Now, the other stuff that I'll eat, fish. They've got great eyes. There's a lot of science that points to evolutionary science that all eyes, basically as we know them now, develop from fish eyes. Even eyes that we don't know now develop from fish eyes, right? I don't know that that's true or not, but that's kind of the I don't know, accepted science of that. So they've got the best eyes. Well, what does that mean about their brain? Do they maybe have a better brain than we think? I don't know, maybe, but I don't want to think about that because those things are down there possibly nibbling on my toes. So in one respect, I've got toe nibblers and or sharks, large man-eaters that are coming to get me, or orcas, things that could eat me and the shark. Otherwise, I've got little dinosaurs. So, I'm thinking game on. And in that case, it's a little bit of combat sport.
Well, that's
so I'm doing my part.
If you were to, if you were to kick off and I tossed you in the Mississippi River,
well, then I would be cold as shit.
Well, you're dead.
Well, I'm dead now.
Well, yeah. So if you died, I threw you in there.
Yes.
There's fish eating you.
Absolutely.
You are fish food.
Within seconds. And should they feel bad?
They would have no misgivings.
No.
Man, they'd be like, man, I bet this guy had a great voice.
Absolutely. Look at how he tasted.
Oh man, so is it about that time?
Yeah, man. Let's call it here. This is the Cultured Swine Podcast for real, episode number 2. Dave Carney, Gus Fimple. Next time, let's work on some really hot stuff. I want to talk about stuff like, some of the movies that have really moved and affected us and why. Because you talked about good movies, but I doubt that film that you saw moved you. And
no, it did not. It did not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So good movies move you. When I want to talk about, maybe
there was a really, really hot Aryan chick in that movie, and something moved.
Wow.
But
okay, all right, that's fair.
That's fair.